Hey guys, it's Sadie from Sadie and Jarvis, and I'm back with the most anticipated video. You guys constantly ask me these questions, so I'm gonna answer them. So for those that may be new to the channel or just might not know, we are a transracial adoptee family. I'm Black, my husband's Black, and our children are white and Hispanic. Our oldest son is Ezra. He is white. He was adopted traditionally. We had a private adoption where a friend of ours knew his birth parents and they were not able to parent him. She reached out to us and asked us if we'd be interested in adopting, and the rest is history. Ezra is almost 2 years old and he is our oldest and just the highlight of our life. Our girls are adopted. I don't like to use the term adopted because we didn't go through the adoption process. It's not quite the same thing. We did embryo donation, but sometimes embryo adoption just may make the process easier for people to understand it. I always kind of say adoption meets surrogacy. So with a surrogate carries a couple or a couple's embryo or a single parent's embryo or whoever's embryo. They carry an embryo for somebody else, and then at the end of the pregnancy, the surrogate then releases the child back to the genetic parents. In our situation, I carried the twins. I was pregnant with the twins. I went through 8 months of horrible nausea and sickness and everything like that, and then at the end, I gave birth to them at 31 weeks. So the twins are not technically adopted, not in the traditional sense, but we did do embryo adoption. But like I said, I like to call it embryo donation. So for those of you that were wondering, where did these white kids come from? That's where they came from. That's how they got here. So the number one thing that you guys want to know is why we chose to adopt, or why we chose donated embryos that are not Black, that are white. Why did you guys adopt white embryos? Why would you, a Black person, choose to have white kids? Why would you make this choice? So I'm gonna answer the question. The kids are sleeping and Jarvis is at work, but I know you guys don't want to know, so I'm gonna just answer the question for you. It's really simple. And it's not so much that we chose white embryos. Like, we weren't like, oh, we want those white ones. It wasn't like that. So a lot of it was initially when we first started looking into embryo adoption, or even whenever we found out we had male factor infertility, when we started looking for like a sperm donor initially, the selection for Black donors was just completely almost non-existent. There was a handful of Black donors for sperm donation and for embryo donation. For us, and having a son that is adopted, we know how important it is for not to have an open adoption. So an open adoption implies that the birth parents have rights, like legally they have to be able to see the children. Legally, you have to have visitation, you have to send pictures, you have to do all this stuff. We don't have an open adoption with Ezra's birth parents, but we do have an open relationship with them. So they can call us, we can call them, they text us, we text them, we send pictures, they watch our YouTube channel. We wanted to have that same dynamic amongst all of our children. So a lot of you guys have commented, I've seen a white lady that gave birth to a Black child. Okay, awesome. But in that situation, it was anonymous. So when you do embryo adoption, you have the option to do private donation, which is what we did. We matched with a private donor on our own. You can go through an agency, or you can adopt through a clinic. The agency and clinic options are typically anonymous, which means you get generic information, you may get medical information, but you don't have any contact information with the donor. Usually not even after the child turns 18, which means the child grows up and they have no idea of anything besides basic information. Sorry if the video comes out a little choppy. I do have kids, so I have to run back and forth between them if they wake up. You can hear them in the background, so sorry. But anyway, so for us, it was just super important. We did a lot of research on adoption and donation before we took these steps. And we even talked to people that are donor conceived who were conceived as embryos that were donated, or conceived as eggs that were donated, or conceived as sperm that was donated. So we actually talked to people that are in these exact situations as the children. So a lot of them said the same thing. I don't know anything about my birth family, or I don't know anything about my genetic parents. I don't know anything about my biological parents besides what comes in the pamphlet. I wish I had a relationship with my genetic parents. I wish I had a relationship with my birth parents. So we got a lot of the same things. So for us, we like getting that donor perspective was huge for us. Donor conceived perspective, I'm sorry, was huge for us because we wanted to think of everything. We wanted to, when our kids are older, we wanted to kind of get an idea of what they would be feeling, what they're going to be thinking, the questions that they're going to be asking. We wanted to make sure that we would have answers to give them when that happens, because it will happen at some point. So we just wanted to make sure that they had the option and the opportunity to be able to ask any questions that they had. So for us, yes, there were Black embryos available through a clinic and through an agency. Neither of which those options that we found with the clinics that we searched, which we searched through a lot of clinics, none of them had open embryo donation. All of it was anonymous until the child was at least 18 years of age, which we did not want at all. So that's why we chose the embryos that we chose, because we wanted an open relationship. Now, with us private matching, I posted in Facebook groups for embryo donation. I posted on this app called Peanut for it's like a mom group for like you to meet moms in your area. I posted there, and I posted basically all over Instagram, social media, Facebook groups, just saying we're looking to adopt embryos. If you or anyone you know has embryos they would like to donate, please contact me. If you have embryos left over from IVF that are just sitting in the freezer, because I mean they get destroyed or they get donated to science, which end up getting destroyed, or they can be donated to a clinic anonymously. Those are the options. So I said, hey, if you have embryos, or if you know anybody that has embryos that wants to donate them, contact me, reach out to me, because we are wanting to grow our family in this specific way. Never did I say they have to be white, or never did I say they have to be Black, or never did I say I want them a specific race. The twins are mixed. The twins are Hispanic and the twins are white, but they look more white than they do Hispanic. Our donor is Hispanic. She is Mexican. So the girls are Mexican. The donor dad is white. So it could have went either way. The girls could have looked more white. The girls could have looked more Hispanic. Journey looks more Hispanic than she does white. Destiny looks more white than she does Hispanic. That's just how it turned out. But never did we ever say, yes, we only want white embryos. Some people have this impression that because Ezra was white, we wanted him to have siblings that were also white. No, that was not the case at all. We could not have cared less. The things that were the most important to us were, are the donors good human beings? Do they help the community? Are they good parents? Do they have good genetics? Do they have a lot of issues with diabetes and high blood pressure and different things like that? Because that's stuff that we had in our family. Those were the things that were important to us. Are they willing to have an open relationship with us? Will we be able to get to know them? Will the kids get to know their biological siblings? Will they get to know their extended family? We want it to be extended family members to our donor family, and that's exactly what we have. So we did receive several messages from people, I think maybe 4 or 5 people or families that wanted to donate embryos to us. Of those families, all of them were white. None of them were Black. And we had one family that was Filipino. We did not choose Filipino embryos because we didn't feel like we had enough, because it's so important for you to incorporate children into their culture, and we didn't feel like we had the resources to be able to use to use Filipino embryos. We don't know anything about Filipino culture, and we don't know anybody that's Filipino personally that we felt like would be able to show those cultural mirrors to us and help us with our children with that aspect. And also the mother that was donating the embryos ended up just not being ready to part with her embryos yet, and we were wanting to grow our family then, so that was an option for us. All of the other families were white. None of the families that reached out to us were black. So a lot of people said, oh, she had an option to use black embryos. We didn't, because like I said, using embryos through a clinic that were going to be closed donation was not an option for us. That's not something we wanted, because we have talked to donor conceived people who have gone through these motions, who have gone through the feelings of, I don't know who I am. I don't know where I come from. I don't know what my biological family was like. We did not want to set our kids up for that. We wanted somebody that we would be able to get to know them, know where they come from, know their history. If I have to fill out paperwork and I'm unsure about something, I can send a text message and be like, hey, what about this? Hey, do they have a history of this? Does anybody in the family have this? Is there a history of mental illness or anything that we needed to know? We wanted to be able to reach out to them and know that. And it was so important for them to be able to know their biological siblings. Because even I have siblings on my dad's side that I don't know. Jarvis was raised and his whole family was raised in the same house, so he knows all of his siblings. But you know what I'm saying, like, just the extended family portion, we really wanted that to us to be able to be family with him. So if you watched our baby shower video, you saw that our donors were at our baby shower. That was the first time we met them. They actually live here in Texas. They live about an hour from us. So we didn't necessarily want donors that were in our state, because our first donors lived in California. We do still have one embryo from them, but we had a total of 3 embryos from them, but we lost 2 of them when I had my miscarriage. So we do stay in contact with them, but we still have one of their embryos frozen, and we might use that if we do another transfer. We might end up donating it to another family. We don't know. But we did not choose specifically, oh yes, we want white embryos. That's not how it went. That's just kind of how it worked out. And how would it, like, I'm trying to think of how to say this. I think it would have been worse for me to tell our donors, no, we don't want your embryos because they're white. That's racist. That doesn't even make sense. So for us, we were more concerned about, will our kids get everything that they need, everything that they want, everything that they may desire down the line? Or will they have to just, I don't know, maybe do Ancestry DNA or 23andMe to find out things later on down the line? Would the donors even want to be contacted? I didn't want my kids to have to face rejection. So I have an open relationship with our donors. We talk to them. I call them on the phone. We meet up. They'll be at the twins' birthday parties. They'll be at Ezra's birthday party. They have 2 kids, 2 boys. One is 4, or one is 3. One is about to be 2, and she's currently pregnant. Her first son was through IVF. The oldest was through IVF from the same cycle as the twins. And the embryos that we have were from that same cycle. After they had their son, they got pregnant naturally, which is amazing. After they had tried for 8 years to get pregnant, they had 10 embryos frozen and they got pregnant naturally. Then she got pregnant again right now and is pregnant naturally again. So they had 10 embryos frozen. They donated 5 of the embryos to us and then let me choose a recipient for the other 5 embryos. So I chose a recipient for those embryos as well. Unfortunately, those embryos did not survive through testing and through all the different processes. They just didn't survive. So the embryos that we have frozen are the last embryos of the batch. So we have 4 embryos left frozen from these donors, from our donor family. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the bottom line is we wanted to grow our family. We didn't care in what manner. If somebody called me today and said, hey, I have embryos, I want to donate them to you, and they're black embryos, I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes just because they're black. There's so many different factors that go into selecting donor conception that when you have to conceive through a donor, there's so many things you have to think about, so many things you have to consider that you wouldn't if you have to, if you just get pregnant naturally. It's different. It's not the same thing. So when people say things like, oh, she has low self-esteem because she doesn't want kids the same color as her. What? Like, that doesn't even make sense. I have low self-esteem because I have white children. That doesn't make sense. So some of the things that people comment, a lot of things that people say, you guys know me, I will address it if I feel like it. Sometimes I just ignore it. Jarvis is the more hot-headed one in these types of situations. I just ignore you guys that talk trash because at the end of the day, you watch the videos, whatever. I still got to say what I needed to say. So at the bottom line, my kids are healthy. My kids are happy. We have a great relationship with our donor family. They have a great relationship with us, and our kids down the line will get to interact with each other. They'll always know where they came from. They'll never have to question, did our donor family not love us? Is that why they gave us up? Or they'll never have to question things like that. And that is the most important thing to me. At the end of the day, our kids' well-being, our kids' health, our kids' happiness is the bottom line. That's the only thing that I care about. At the end of the day, that's it. What you guys have to say is irrelevant to me. Please remember, at any time, we can quit this YouTube channel. We can stop posting these videos. We do this to document our family journey for us, for our kids, for down the line, so that way they have it to watch. So for all of you guys saying, oh, she has low self-esteem, why would you pick white embryos? And then to the people that are just curious, oh wow, I've never seen this before. That's why we do this channel, because we want to spread awareness. We want to spread awareness about transracial adoption, show that families don't have to match. Families are not always made in a traditional sense. Never. That's not the case. So please stop being hateful. Stop calling me a mammy. Stop calling me the N-word. Stop saying all these hateful things, because at the end of the day, I'm still here. I'm happy. My family's happy. My kids are happy. That's all that matters. So, did that answer your question? If not, I'm not going to address it again. I'm not going to continue to defend me and my husband's decision in the way that we decided to grow our family. I'm not going to do it. So if you want to stick around and you want to continue watching our videos, thank you to those that support us. Thank you. We love you. We're so happy that you're here. If you guys have any additional questions that you want to ask, feel free to drop them in the comments. I will answer them if they are appropriate. Please remember, like I said, that I am not by any means under any obligation to answer your hateful questions or reply to your hateful comments, but I will answer the ones that I feel need to be addressed. Okay? So I hope that clears it up for you guys. I hope that answers the questions that you guys had. The next video that you'll see that comes out will be a nursery reveal for the twins. And as the kids get older, I think it's really important. A lot of things you guys say, like if I was a child conceived through donor conception and I saw some of the things that people ask, I would be hurt. So if we feel like down the line that the questions are way over the top, that the questions are not appropriate, we'll turn the comments off if we need to. But we have some awesome projects in the works. Hopefully you guys will continue to see us on YouTube platform and maybe on a larger platform. So I guess we'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm Sadie, and we are the Sampsons. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.